Hello everyone, welcome to the show. This is Your View and it's a beautiful Wednesday morning. I am Tokwe Mark Odige and with me as usual are the beautiful ladies. Well, chocolates today, sort of like this, like our color, you know. I've seen a very, like all shades of brown.
Yes.
Brown skin girls, glowing. How you all doing?
We're
good.
Midweek, what's up?
Let me see. I have no gist, but so let me just use this one to brag. Some weeks ago, this organization, World Lessons organization, reached out to me. It's a subsidiary of UNICEF, and they had seen one of my posts that I had with the kids, and they asked if they could use it for one of their ads for whatever. So they did a Zoom meeting. Amina Mohammed was on it. You know, there's just so many celebrities around the world on it, and
so cool.
my children were part of the video was part of the ad that they used. So me and my kids have been celebrating, like, yay! Like, let me see. So it's, you know, like a 1 minute video, and then, you know,
that's so good.
They sent us a message like, oh, your own faces show at this time. So we had to wait till we got to that time and we looked at him like, yay! We did something important.
I'm sure they will be so excited.
And that, you know what that buttresses? That your everyday action, even doing you, will get acknowledged.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't get acknowledged in the moment, it culminates into positivity for you long term. So you were just doing you.
Yeah.
And someone who saw the value of you doing you could just correspond and connect with you.
Yeah, but also I just wanted to mention that at first I was worried because, you know, we have all sorts of unscrupulous people on the internet. But, you know, the sort of questions that they asked me, going back and forth to sign things. So I just, you know, just so that we are careful. Because these sort of people come a lot of times, and sometimes we even miss opportunities.
Because you're careful.
Yeah, so let's be careful.
Bissy, how you doing?
I'm doing amazing.
I love your hair.
Thank you. I'm doing business.
Yes, so I think every day a different look.
Yeah,
it's Bissy's hair all the way.
loving it.
So.
Yeah, but a friend reached out to me. Her mother's birthday is today, Mrs. Ayodele Ajoshe. Did I try? She's going to be 60 today.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Ma.
ma. God bless you. God keep you. God allow you live long and eat the fruits of your labor. Shebina said that they talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. Happy birthday,
And so
ma.
shall it be.
Yeah. So I'm tired of this online learning. Please, I am fed up. Because
Okay.
I am the one doing all the work,
Okay, me and
especially
with the
with the younger ones. For courses, it's autopilot. She's on her own. But you see those ones, mommy this, mommy that. I want, my passcode, my this, my that. I do all of the work. Now the days I'm not on set, that I'm supposed to be resting at home. I have to wake up as early as 6:30, and I do
ready.
all the work till 3 p.m. Is there anything they can do about it? Because I'm fed up.
You have to, at least there's some things that they can do on their own. They can set themselves up, right? At least.
So my
not-
son will
your
not
son should
want
be able
to.
to,
He doesn't
Yeah.
want to. That's the
Okay.
problem.
So I think that some people like me have decided we cannot come and kill ourselves.
Okay, so
The
how
children
do you
should
do it?
enjoy themselves. No, my
do
children
what
are
you
not,
can.
I'm not. I do what I can at the time I can.
Okay.
And I have a friend that her kids aren't doing anything. Her kids are not in online school, so she just looked at it that she's still going to be paying full third term fee in her school. So why should she now be stressing herself with this? She has full-time work, working from home, but she's working full-time. So our parents, forgive yourself. If you can't, you can't.
But there will be a learning gap.
No, they won't. No,
I
not
don't
really. They'll
agree.
catch up.
Yes.
They're kids.
Because according
They'll
to the
catch
government, when the third term resumes, it's
Yeah, so
full
don't
third
kill
time.
yourself.
Third term. So another thing is, you know, download like all these educative games.
So they're still
like,
within
yeah,
that educative
Yes.
ecosystem.
Whether
as
they're doing
much
the
as
school
possible
work
or
or
not,
not,
as
yeah.
much as possible.
stress is
because we
much.
can't come and die. Yes, but I got a really bad news today, and it is that the CEO of Be Natural passed away, and it actually happened yesterday, but I found out today. And this woman is the warmest, sweetest person. Like, she's so kind. We had a conversation. We're supposed to meet after COVID, and this happened. Guys, let's protect ourselves as much as possible. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, we'll look at the top stories of the day. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So we're starting off the major headline in the Punch. More drama as police occupy APC office and the National Working Committee battles Gaidom over NEC. I have Buhari's approval to convene NEC meeting. That's the suspended secretary. You are on suspension Can't convene NEC, National Working Committee, wants embattled chieftain. I have decided to sit and watch development as it unfolds, says Amechi. Lots of drama happening within the APC. But in other news, really touching, generator fume kills 2 hairdressers in Lagos. Oyo State postpones state school reopening to July 6th. Demolition. Reps fault Onyema urges retaliation against Ghana. Killer soldiers deliberately gunned down IRT policemen to free Wadume, that's Amisu's kinsmen. Fear grows as hospitals release COVID-19 test results in 2 weeks. Lagos turnaround time for corona result has improved, says the commissioner. And experts back Buhari as president's false ECOWAS single currency. So what news are we taking?
Human interest story. So in Ogba, 2 ladies were found dead in their hairdressing salon. It was raining, and they had the generator on. And so when it started to rain, they took the generator to an enclosure closest to the door of the salon. And the husband of one of them had, he came to check up on them or something, opens the door and finds there were 3 women in there. He found 2 of them dead and one still foaming at the mouth, and that one is in hospital recuperating. So it just seemed like it was carbon monoxide poisoning. Although one of the other ladies, her family says they are not convinced that that is what happened to her, because they said at the time that she was carried, she spotted blood out of her nose, and that when the cloth that was used in covering her was covered in blood. So I guess more investigations
investigate, but we should just reiterate, please don't close the door with generator fumes within your house, and don't put the generator inside your house. This was a shop and the generator was inside the shop.
If you have to sleep, just put it off.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so some hospitals are delaying patients are complaining that hospitals are delaying the release of the COVID-19 results. So they go to run the tests and they tell them to come back in 2 to 3 weeks. And the Nigerian Medical Association is saying that this is likely one of the causes of the increase in infections, because by the time those people go home, they do not have the result, they spread it, they cannot isolate because they don't know whether they are positive or negative. And some other patients also said that the hospitals where they go for the testing, there's no privacy, so to speak. So they are mixed with other people who are being treated for other things. So I think we need to pay attention to all of these details.
Well, we've been told that everybody should behave like you're positive, and everybody should don't assume, but really we need to shorten the time with which results come out. Oyo State has postponed their resumption date. So the school was planning to resume on the 29th of June. Okay. So now the state government is saying that they moved it to this July 6th. They've had a total of 76 cases in the state, and they're saying that they've been able to shore up protection for their schools, and they feel that with the teachers will resume on the 29th, and they would retrain them on how to
I know the federal government is not happy about Oyo State
taking that decision. Okay, so moving on to the nation, major headline: Wike attacks PDP National Working Committee over Obaseki's ticket bid. Rivers governor and says that some National Working Team members are tax collectors. Other news: Gaidom not competent to call NEC meeting, says APC. It's just all about APC. Ndume to stand shorty for Mena in money laundering trial. Heavy rain to pound Lagos in July, September, October. Oyo government shift school resumption. Rumble in Ondo Assembly over Deputy Governor. Ajayi's aides fired. And woman cuts off Obi's scrotum. There's a lot of domestic violence going on right now, man. So heavy downpour.
Yes, so the Lagos State government is warning that we are going to be having more rains, more flooding, especially these months. And because of the heavy downpour that happened, which affected a lot of places, we had houses in different areas collapsing on each other, and we had deaths as a result of that. But the Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources is saying that they're asking residents to stop dumping refuse. You know, find a way to organize your refuse and make sure that the drains are not clogged, so that at least when the water gets into the drains, it can move and we won't have so much flooding. So it's just like an advice for us to be very careful this period.
So the domestic violence case in Osun, so a 35-year-old woman finds her husband in his apartment with a woman in there with him at about 10 p.m. and she proceeds to grab his scrotum, and they said he fainted, but, you know, thank God he survived whatever violence she had tried to
Cuts off.
meet.
That's what the headline said.
Yeah, but he survived it. And he said that the person brought food to him.
So there
and
wasn't
was
even
unable to leave. And then the wife comes in and finds them. They had been married for about 6 years, having different issues. So he had moved to his own to a separate apartment because of their problems. And so she comes into the house, finds him with this woman who had brought food for him. And
we're going to be discussing a bit of this in our hot topic.
violence.
So, moving on to Daily Sun, major headline: more confusion in APC. Police seal, reopen party secretariat, they don't fix this special meeting. Blah 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 blah. We're not interested. 13 Imo lawmakers, 49 Enugu health workers test positive for COVID-19. That is a major worry. Court clears Obaseki to participate in PDP primaries.
Oh.
Minister gets nod to concession Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, Kano airports. And WHO approves of dexamethasone to treat critically ill COVID-19 patients. NAFDAC moves to aid Nigerian scientists on drugs vaccination. So, this is
World Health.
The World Health, or the Imo State. Okay, yeah, World Health. Let's talk about.
So World Health Organization has finally approved of dexamethasone. So it's a steroid that had already been used for many years for different ailments like arthritis, severe allergies, some types of cancers, and it's being used.
Ill.
That's what it's originally meant for. But now it can be used for those who are critically ill from the COVID-19.
Okay.
So it's usually maybe ventilated patients and things like that. So I think the reason why I'm mentioning this is, you know, the thing is once you hear that there's a drug out, everybody rushes to get it and just keep it. They are steroids. I remember my mom said they are steroids. They're not something that you should just pick up and just be popping because you're trying to prevent something for people who are really ill, and it helps with inflammation and things like that. So NAFDAC is also saying that on the Nigerian end, that they are working, you know, their doors are open to Nigerian scientists who say they are working on, you know, solutions of possible vaccines for the COVID-19.
So what's happening in Imo State and Enugu?
Yes, so in Imo State House of Assembly, 13 out of the 27 members are allegedly tested positive for the coronavirus. Though this chief speaker is saying that it's just about 3 of them that have tested, though they've collected all the samples from the lawmakers to ensure that they find out the results. They are going to be vacating the house for about 2 weeks to allow for fumigation, and they've also started contact tracing for all those who have been in touch with the lawmakers. They've tested everybody in the complex, so the health workers who are there, the aides, everybody who's involved in that complex is being tested right now, and they are hoping that they have results. I think in Enugu as well, they have about, I can't get the number right now, but a lot of them have tested positive for the
49 health workers tested positive
in
Enugu
State. Yes.
So, once again, it is real. Moving on to the Daily Trust, major headline: police rescue 126 laborers at Kano rice factory. Over 300 of us were locked for nearly 3 months. How we stormed the building, the police commissioner, owner of the company, not our member, says rice processors. And in other news, after president's warning, security chiefs plan new strategy. How Buhari whittled down governor's powers, and what new digital economy would do for Nigeria, APC crisis. And the last story here would be Benue villagers desert homes over communal clash. What is happening in Benue is terrible, and our heart goes out to them. We're praying and hoping that our security officials will step up, to what they're supposed to do. They would sit up and protect human beings. This is terrible. Over and over again, we're so used to it, we don't even take it serious anymore.
Yes, so they're just like numbers. And so let me just take that other story that sort of...
security chiefs.
Yes, so the security chiefs are meeting with all stakeholders. So the Chief of Defense Staff General, Abayomi Olusegun, is met with heads of security and intelligence agencies, and it's just really to find different ways or better ways, you know, to stall this, to just stop this killings and banditry and kidnapping happening in different parts of our country. Our president had warned last week that he was not going to take it from them.
I just
For me, I just felt that at this time it should be just get out and find somebody that
Why are we doing new strategy when people are dying on a daily basis? Please, what's happening in the rice factory?
Yes, so this particular rice factory in Kano State had locked up their workers due to the COVID-19, according to the story. So they didn't let them go home. They were paid about 30-something thousand naira monthly, and they didn't. In fact, they were threatened. First of all, they were promised that they will increase their salaries, but if you decide to go, you will be sacked. So they were threatened, and then they stayed there. But hopefully the police command, they are supposed to give them a choice to either stay or go. But they locked them in for 3 months,
I know places
and
in
they were
Lagos.
not really giving them, good food to eat. They complained about that. But
maybe
then
the food. But I know companies in
rescued.
Lagos that kept their staff in the in accommodation.
It will be in
within
agreement
the premises.
Yes, within the premises of the office.
Yes. So they rescued 126 of them.
Wow.
And they've closed down the factory for now. So
let's see how that goes. So we didn't take the APC stories. There's a lot of things going on within the political system in Edo State. And our thought was that let's focus on the lives of human beings and citizens. When they sort out politics, let them come back and do governance.
Tell us, exactly.
Next, we'll discuss our lineup of hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. According to the report, a man allegedly killed his fiancée by stabbing her multiple times with different knives in the head and in her eyes. He thereafter ingested a poisonous substance suspected to be a pesticide, and the police in Lagos have, however, commenced investigations into the alleged murder. So now we ask, what could have been done? Is this preventable? What's the place of the family members, neighbors, and society in curbing this kind of violence? We also read in the newspaper something similar to this happening, where couples suspecting each other of infidelity and all of that leads to violence. How can we deal with this situation? So I sort of like squeezed this topic into it today because the ladies didn't want to talk about it. We've been discussing domestic violence back to back for so long. However, we mustn't give up, because somehow I feel like the more we talk about these things, somebody's heart will get touched and soften. Somebody would start thinking of other possible solutions as opposed to killing their spouse. So yes, we need to talk about this, but let's start from what could have been done to prevent this. Is it possible that can it just happen to someone without them being aware? Will there not be signals you can see? What could be done, Mariam?
Okay, so for me, as you started, you said maybe we'll touch someone's heart and the person will have a change of, mind. But I think what is most important is also be careful who you decide to be with. Watch out for the signs and be able to tell what those signs are. We also come from our culture and our society has a way of insisting that you stay in a relationship or a marriage, especially when children are involved, no matter what is being done to you or by you. So it's you're beating up, so you're beating up a spouse. So it can be the man beating up a wife, or a wife, being really violent towards the husband. And everybody says, well, there are children involved. I don't care what you do to each other, but you must stay in this. And, it most of the time ends up badly. And without advocating for divorce or anything, we have seen that some people actually thrive and the children do well in homes where people are living apart and, doing it well. So it's better to be alive and and doing the right thing and being healthy and have a healthy relationship than being forced into a relationship that not only provokes you to violence or that you are being violated. So for me is let's be careful when we make our decisions to be with people. Although it also happens that sometimes you don't see these signs or nothing never happens, and then you're in a marriage.
Is that possible?
So yeah, I think so. Some people would say that yeah, because we have different types of courtship, Some people have the courtship that I meet you, our families meet, whether we like it or not. This is our reality in Nigeria. Yes, we do not have a long courtship. We don't really know each other. And then we find ourselves in a marriage where that is when we're meant to start knowing each other. And usually when you're in a marriage, you're meant to be in a marriage forever. And then you find things like that. I think the best decision is to stay away. And then I guess also we need to have laws, legislation, and enforcement of when people are in a domestic in a violent domestic situation, that they're able to go somewhere and report the case and get like a restrictive order on the person causing violence, or ask someone to stay away from that person using enforcement. So
like you have the security on your side, or
Yes.
whoever is the victim's side, the
Yes.
security should be on their side. BC, is it possible? Because when I was saying that sometimes you might not know the person, but is it possible for you not to see the signals? Like this is a psychopathic kind of killing. The person plucks out the hair. Like I felt cold. I was shivering. Someone plucks out the individual hair on a woman's head, then stabs her multiple times. You don't just wake up to become like that.
Yeah, I think there's no switch that just happens, except of course the person becomes mad. You know, maybe something happens spiritually and then the person becomes mad. That switch happens. But sometimes the signs are there, but they are subtle. And because of the love that you have, and okay, don't worry, it will change. Like you're the Holy Spirit that has the power to change anybody. Don't worry, it will change later. Or don't worry, everybody has their marriage. People have their baggages. I don't know what's happening in Miriam's house. I don't know what's that happening. Why do I can manage, I can, and you just ignore those signs. Sometimes the signs are bold, sometimes the signs are subtle, sometimes the family members will see the signs. And then, okay, let's take for instance, somebody who tortures animals. So I got into a relationship with a friend back in school, and I realized how he will catch rats, and instead of killing them in his room, he will hang them upside down. And he will use a broom and hot iron to torture those animals till they die. And that was a red flag. I was young, but that was a red flag for you. If you can do this to a living thing, what would happen if you fall out of love with me tomorrow? And I ran. So the signs are there. Somebody is upset and he just throws this cup or throws something or destroys property. We see those signs, but say, no, he doesn't beat, he will just throw something. The signs are there. We need to start educating our women and our men as well to start paying attention to those subtle signs. And we need to, as a family, we need to start saying that if this relationship doesn't work, daughter, please come back home. There is space for you in this house. Don't let anybody treat you, because most times what happens is the family says you are married though. Marriage is like a leave. Whatever, a gift box, whatever you open, that's what you have. You have to make sure that you stay there and enjoy it. No marriage is blissful, you know. And then people stay there, and then they go to their pastors to complain, to their imams to complain, and they say, God hates divorce, stay there. And people are dying every day in our very before. So we need to, as a society, come together to say, if this is violent in nature, honey, come home. We love you. You'll be okay.
So my worry is...
there was something she said I just wanted to add, which is also you need to, one of the red flags could be how the person treats other people. So you're in a relationship with someone and you see the way they treat their domestic staff or people that work for them, and you think, well, he treats you really well or she treats you really well. That's a red flag. I remember also being in a car with someone and his driver upset him and he gave the driver a hot slap from the back. I was cold. I just knew that no. You know, this can never work. But that was a red flag. But a lot of people, actually, we see these people being violent to other people, but because it's not directed towards us.
So if he beats up his siblings, if he beats up friends, if he cannot control his temper, if he gets into fisticuffs regularly, or someone that flares up and verbally abusive, verbally insults people, if he ever says, "I'll just kill you,"
those are signs. That we need to
those are signs you should. There's some things you don't say. I'll just stab you. I'll just kill you.
I'll poison you.
You will just die. And those are like if you hear
extreme.
it. Just run. And let's go to the place of family, because this particular story, we heard that the younger sister of this lady was at home. And there are many cases like this where there was one that happened in Ibadan, that the cases of lawyers, that they resolved, friends and landlord came to resolve the issue and felt that it's been resolved, and they left only for them to hear the next day that something came up again within the night and somebody ended up dead. So what can the society do if you hear someone shouting, if you hear a quarrel going up? How can you intervene before you hear cases of this kind of thing? What's the best way to get involved?
May we not end up with our enemies.
Amen.
And may we not end up with friends who later become enemies. Because sometimes no matter what you do, no matter what the signs are or how your family intervenes, it just ends up sadly this way. Some people would give you their stories and they will tell you some of the challenges that they had to overcome in their homes, and you're like, really? And then when you see them today, people use those people as examples, but they are the exception. Usually there's a pattern of violence. It continues until it ends up one way like this, either a death or an injury, or someone ends up in prison or in a jail cell somewhere. So the thing is really, pray and just keep your eyes open, and family members need to know what is most important. Yes, value your family, your children as well.
Azan. Azan has called us from Lekki. Good morning, Azan. Welcome to the show. From Lekki. Good morning, Azan. Welcome to the show. Are you there?
You see, this issue has to do with parents and the subject, the girl. I see no reason why you should allow your daughter to be involved in this live-in lovers to the extent of having children. It's not good. It's not part of our culture. It's not good at all for parents to allow that. And the girls, because of the money involved, you see them having 1, 2, 3. We knew of a musician like that. The parents are looking at him, impregnating their daughter inside their home. And they're very proud of it. It's very wrong. Number 2, we have our personalities. You understand? Some people are choleric, some people are melancholic, some people are phlegmatic. So there's a way you manage people. Even as a woman, you understand, a guy can be rude to somebody and be nice to you. That is where love stands. Secondly, this issue of Ondo State Governor, I know it's not today's topic, but I need to raise it because you were there. You see, there's nothing wrong in giving your wife's relations appointment. It's born out of matrimonial harmony. You understand? You can decide, look, this man of their communication was a chief of staff to Bamanga Tukur in the old Gongola state. You understand? We should begin to mellow that. I know where you're coming from. We knew. You understand? But you now, married to Mark Odigi. Mark Odigi can decide to give your junior sister, your siblings an appointment. And there's nothing anybody can do about that.
Thank you, sir.
You understand? And anybody can come from anywhere and give value. Good.
Yeah. That's your view. So we're going on break, and we're probably just running off this conversation, but we can't overemphasize the reason, all these things that we've shared. Please pay attention, watch out for the signals, and if you can stop or prevent any of these things, please do report, speak up. And we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll continue with another segment. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. Before we move on to our next topic, BC wanted to say something concerning the last one.
Yes, so I want us to get as a society, because you asked the question, what do we do as a society? What do we do as family members when we see people who are in this domestic violence relationship? And the first thing I want to say is that we need to start exploring being a busybody. What do I mean by that? That you see something happening in another compound, because it doesn't concern you, we've stayed on the sidelines for too long. Yes, we just, it's not my, I don't know what's happening there. We need to start calling the attention of the law enforcement agencies. Okay, I heard a noise here, what's happening here? We need to start, find out. When you travel and things happen, you can't just play loud music without somebody coming to check what's happening here. Or they hear a noise coming from your apartment and everybody just minds their business. We need to stop minding our business and start paying attention to things that are happening to people around us. Be your brother's keeper, be your neighbor's keeper. Ensure that everything is okay where you are. So don't just sit back and say, let me face my life like we have been doing for a long time. If as a society we can come together to say, if I see anything going wrong, even if it's a child, yes, you see that it's being beaten anyhow, you should call what's happening? Why are you maltreating this child? Carry the matter on your head. We have minded our business for so long.
Okay, I think for me, just a little, maybe I disagree with you a little. I think originally or traditionally, that's the type of people.
No, we've changed.
Wait, that's the sort of people that we are. We're
used to be.
We're in each other's business. And also, most of the time, given the sort of way that we live communally, you cannot help but know about someone else's business.
Before.
So now, what I see the difference is like a lot of people that live in the city, usually if you live like in rural communities, you would be living with family members, extended family, you know, just sort of people know people, but in the city, you're living with different people from different places. So I think what we need to do to take it to the next level is, because we're afraid of getting into people's business, we should be able to have a number that you call, a person that you call in authority that can come and say something or do something or speak on behalf. Exactly. I hear this a loud noise in this house, like the story in question. People heard music for long hours and, you know, called authorities and finally went there to break the door down. And that's the thing. We need to be able to know we can call someone, call a place, and
to applaud Lagos State government on all they are doing concerning domestic violence. We do indeed in Lagos have a very strong domestic violence unit, and so please avail yourself of the opportunities that Lagos has provided with the emergency numbers where there is need for response. We're going to be moving on to another story, which is sort of a major issue linked to this because sometimes financial challenges increases domestic violence. But the Vice President, Yemi Osinbajo, on Thursday said that unemployment in Nigeria is going to rise by 33.6%, which means a total of 39.4 million people will be jobless by the end of 2020. If the country fails to take prompt preemptive measures. Joining us to elaborate more on this is human capital development expert, Michael Adeleye. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Mr. Michael.
Hello, good morning. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good morning. Good to have you, sir. So, we just introduced this. It is scary because we know that we already have high unemployment and underemployment rates as well, but knowing that the condition now would worsen is something we should worry. So do you think it is preventable though? Like when he's saying preemptive action, what is preemptive action?
Right. Thank you for having me. Good morning. Right. The issue now here is we've been talking about this unemployment from time memorial. And a lot of experts have actually put on the table what should be done and how it should be done. But most of these policies that people put on the table are not being adhered to. But the government trying to do what they want to do, some for political reasons, some for other reasons, but it's not working. But nobody ever thought that this pandemic is going to come at a shock without anyone noticing the action or the incident coming up. But now it's happened. Now, when the government announced a figure, it is obviously you have to follow a figure, their own statistic, what they have on the table. But at the moment, there is a pandemic, and the unemployment issue is a huge problem. Now, the actions of the government is what everybody is looking into. But the question I need to ask people and the government is, what have they done prior to this? Okay? That is the first thing that I need to ask the government. As an expert in this industry, I've been on several television shows, on social media, talking about or giving a different a mechanism that the government needs to follow and how to do it, but none has been done. So now we are in a serious situation now, and everybody's panicking. We haven't seen anything. I'm sorry to say this, because the unemployment figure is still going to rise, and it will keep rising.
What would you specifically suggest? So, because he said, the vice president said preemptive, we must be preemptive. So I don't even think there's anything called preemptive in this situation, because we're already in the situation. So what can be done? Responsive should rather be the word. How do we respond to this situation where we're going to have about 33.9% of unemployment in Nigeria? How do we respond? What are the things that you think the government should do?
Okay, good. Now, first and foremost, we need to begin to retrain all our workforces. You see, people have been out of work. Even before people have been out of work, we have low-skilled workers or workforce in the country or in the society. Now this has happened. The first thing the government needs to do is to begin to train. We need to collaborate. The government has their own training arm. like the training institute they have in the public sector, but they need to collaborate with the private sector, private training firms in the country to be able to assist them to begin to retrain people to be able to put them back into job. That's number one. Number two, you need to collaborate. The government needs to begin to collaborate with employers in the country. And how do you do this? Employers are willing to assist, but there must be something on the table. This has affected everyone, employers, the public sector, in the private sector, so everybody needs to come together. But it must be a win-win situation. Now, as an employer, for example, if the government says to me, okay, you need to assist us to begin to put people back into employment, I'm going to ask the government, what do you have? How can you assist me to be able to assist you? Because it's a universal an issue. So the government could do one or two things. You pay tax as a corporation tax for your company. We will give you an incentive, a tax break, a tax holiday when you begin to put people back in, begin to retrain people, get them back into employment, and get them into a scheme which is called apprenticeship scheme. Because a lot of people have lost their skills. They wouldn't know where to start from. The whole global situation has changed. People are working from home. So few people were doing some different things. So people need to be trained, get back into the workforce. So collaborate with training firms to be able to assist you and help you out. Begin to introduce apprenticeship scheme from the government and also from the private sector. Tax break, tax holiday to assist the employer so they can actually be part of the scheme as a stakeholder. Then also, all these people are out of pocket. All the people that have lost their job are out of pocket. They need to transport themselves back to work. They need to buy clothing. They need to feed themselves. They need to find their way around. An incentive like a stipend needs to be put on the table for everyone who is willing to go back to work.
Okay.
Okay?
What I hear you, and I want you to drill you further on how we can encourage businesses, small businesses, to stimulate employment. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, you would answer us on how the government can stimulate small businesses to generate more employment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still staying with the conversation concerning the unemployment rate increasing in Nigeria to really scary rates. And Mariam has a question to ask our guest, which is a human development expert, Michael Adeleye. I know you still have you on the show. We still have you on the phone, right?
It's still here. It's Michael Adeleye.
Michael Adeleye. Good to still have you on the show. So Mariam has a question for you concerning what can be done.
No, well, I have a question. My question is really that every day we hear almost scary stories from our government about unemployment rates, and then we hear about the loans that we're getting. And our unemployment rate has been an increasing one. So it wasn't like it was falling pre-COVID, and now the pandemic has caused it. So my question is, should we be afraid as Nigerians? Should we really be worried? Or from the conversations that we hear from our government, should we feel a little sense of confidence that they may be doing something to help us? Because we see stories like in Venezuela, people are leaving the country en masse, no basic healthcare services, unemployment rate, and all of it also tied to the price of petroleum products falling, crude oil falling. So I'm wondering, we sort of share the same type of economy. Should we be worried, really, or are we better off?
Thank you very much. We have to be worried. And the reason why we have to be worried is simple, as in saying, what are you going to eat tomorrow? The reason is this, I'll tell you. We have a government that is supposed to take one or two steps to ensure that the employment rate in the country pre-COVID-19 is being looked into critically, and that has not been done. Now, so many times I have advocated, and I'm still advocating, for apprenticeship scheme. Now, what does it do? When you train people, it leads to skill acquisition. Skill acquisition leads to job creation. Now, there was a scheme in the last administration which could also be mirrored into this one that the government has started. I, on several times, on television, advised the government to follow same suit. But what we enjoy doing in this country is to scrap a program of one government and start another one without knowing the basis that it takes a long time before any project could be effectively implemented. What do I mean by apprenticeship scheme? Now, we have millions of people who are out of work. Why are these people out of work? The majority of them don't have the skills that employers are looking for. Now, the best way to go on this one is, one, you collaborate with employers. Now, like I said earlier, please, we need to employ 1 million people, put 1 million people into job this year. You need to come on as a stakeholder and assist us to do this. And how is it going to be done? The government has a program called Empower Project. They pay people on a monthly basis. I think it's about 30,000 naira. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes, minimum
okay.
wage.
Now, the 30,000 naira, for me, what is going on now, personal opinion, it's not working on this Empower Project. The way it will work, or it should not work, is this. When you speak to an employer, take on XYZ number of people, we will pay them a stipend of 30,000, take them on for a year. And the reason why they're doing this, when an employer brings on, let's say, 5 people on a scheme of apprenticeship scheme, to work with them for to be an apprentice with them for 1 year, they will gain a lot of things. Within that 1 year period, they will have acquired skill, be part of the business, dedication, add productivity to the employer within that 1 year. At the end of the program, this is very critical, listen carefully. At the end of the program, 2 things will happen. Majority of these people that employers takes on apprenticeship scheme would have gained viable skills and be part of the business. No employer will want any good employee to leave the company. So some of them will be integrated into the business as automatic employment because they've added value to the business and they have added a lot of quality into the business. So employer will keep some of them. That is one part for these people to gain employment. The second part, on a worst case scenario, let's even assume out of 5 people, the employer says, I'm going to take on 3 because I love what the 3 people are doing. The 2 of them, sorry, we can't help you. On their CV, they can go to another employer and tell another employer, I have 1 year skill, I've worked with company XYZ. Now, that will solve the issue whereby employers are saying, I can't employ you as a graduate because you have no skill, you have no work experience. So the apprenticeship scheme is a vital and the most important way of integrating or putting people into employment. Now, the gain for the employer is this. They're not paying stipend, they're not paying wages for those guys that are working with them. The government are paying the stipend. Some employers even add some things on top of that stipend because they love what the employees are doing with them. Secondly, the government should be able to give this employer, okay, because you're doing this for us, besides we pay the wages, we're going to give you a tax holiday, or we'll give you extra percentage out of the corporation tax. Every single employer will be happy to key into this.
Mr. Michael, can't we already integrate this into the NYSC scheme? Because the idea is that when you're doing your NYSC, you're supposed to be working for someone, you use that 1 year, you gain experience, you gain skills. There are many skill acquisition already integrated into this thing. Is it that we're not deploying it well, or you're thinking we should take it on a massive scale?
God bless you for that question. If you look back into some of my programs, which I have done several with NTA, but mainly with Channels Television, I have mentioned and I've spoken widely on NYSC. For me, let me be honest with you, the NYSC program has been bastardized and it's not working. And I'll tell you why it's not working. The reason for the NYSC is to bring people out of their graduation and put them into something that will practicalize what they've studied in school. Now, how can it, as a government, put a military man at the helm of an NYSC scheme? Are they going to war? What sort of experience does that guy have, with no disrespect, does that guy have as a businessman or as an entrepreneur to be able to evenly distribute these people into various categories of the economy? Now, if I'm the head of the NYSC, for example, this is what I would do. If you're a graduate of microbiology, for example, I will channel you through all these health institutions for you to begin to put what you've studied into practice and add value to those businesses with the intention that those businesses will employ you because you are going through the same line. If you study economics or if you study, I don't know, whatever you study, it should be, those guys should be channeled into the industry that actually practice or go in line of business with
the
what
round
people
peg
study.
into the round holes. That's what you're advocating for, so that they will get relevant experience to their field of interest, right?
That's about it. Then number two, I can say categorically that most people that go through the NYSC goes there to play. There's no effective monitoring. Wow. I have seen people, I can say this authoritatively, that they sign on that they're on the NYSC scheme, but they're doing something else. They're not in camp. Some of these people are abroad. Some people are signing in for them, that they attend the classes, so they're in the camp and all this. So it should be scrapped. But now, the NYSC is not working. It's a waste of resources, of taxpayers' money. It's a waste of effort, and it's not working. If you can't put a businessman, put a business entrepreneur, somebody who understands the economy, on top of the NYSC, who could actually look into the problem of the country and evenly distribute the people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. We'll be speaking to Mr. Michael, Human Capital Development Expert, concerning the unemployment rate that is expected to hit 33.9 million Nigerians before the end of the year if we don't get preemptive action. We're going to discuss this much more over the course of the show, but we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll move on to another topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
One time I was thinking of, I forgot I was on the show.
Richard.
Sorry.
It's fine.
Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So Father's Day was on Sunday, 21st of June, and in commemorating the day, a group of fathers have put together a 1,000-man march to protest against rape. Joining us on the show is to discuss the role of fathers in the possible end to rape is a security consultant and child advocate, Child Safety Education and Child Protection Initiative. He is the coordinator, #Fathers Say No to Rape, Richard Amuwa. Welcome to the show, Mr. Richard.
Thank you for having me. And
good to have you.
To our viewers.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
So the Father's Day, this is an interesting initiative. We've been talking a lot about domestic violence and the rape cases happening everywhere. Many people are speaking up. So what exactly are you trying to achieve with this 1,000-man walk, 1,000 fathers walk?
Yes, what we're trying to achieve is that we want to call the attention of fathers to the fact that women are the only one that is advocating for this say no to rape. And it's like, it is women issue. If you look at any protest being organized, out of 100%, maybe just say 10% men or thereabouts. So it's all about women. So we as fathers, celebrating Father's Day on Sunday, we have to ask ourselves some simple questions. What are we doing to curtail the rape in our community, in our society? Because whether you like it or not, the young boys or even the fathers that are getting involved in issue of rape, they are getting many. For example, during the lockdown in Anambra State, there was a report that about 80 fathers slept with their daughters. And as I'm telling you right now, in Akwa Ibom, about 23 people were convicted of rape. And even yesterday, I got another message again that an uncle, raped his niece to death. So we felt that time have come for father to speak up. Just like one of you said during the issue of domestic violence, we need to do what we call community policing. And what do I mean by community policing? Where every father in every community needs to rise up. When you see something going wrong, you don't need to take permission from the parents or from anybody. You stop it. When we're growing up, we say it takes community to raise, to raise children. So we are calling on fathers everywhere on this issue of harsh fathers say no to rape, that in your community, in your world, everywhere you are in Lagos, in Nigeria, that when you see something going wrong, you see a child being molested, you see somebody being abused, you need to speak up. Don't say because this child is not my own. Like I always tell people, you don't need to be biological to be a father to somebody. If you keep protecting your own child, and that child that is abused and is on the street, that you want to come and hurt your own children. So I think our goal is to galvanize fathers and help them to understand that the children are calling for their attention. A lot of fathers are thinking that it's all about money. They are thinking that once I put food on the table for my family, I've done what is right. Look at our boy child today. The question I keep asking, who is raising them up? How many fathers can tell their children their story, and that story motivates their children?
Thank you, sir.
Look at what happened, the domestic violence that just happened in Lekki. According to story, they said that guy have attempted this like 7 years ago.
Whoa.
What, has anybody helped out? And I need to say this, that the major issue that will help us to reduce rape in Nigeria is for fathers to start educating their wards, their children on what to do. So that is the step we're taking, starting from that we started from June 21st, and we're going to continue. And if you're a father, listen to me right now. We are appealing to you. Go to your social media with your picture, hashtag it, Fathers Say No to Rape, and ask your friends that are following you to continue, because this is a viral movement that we must do. Government alone cannot do this. People keep saying, let's give a life sentence to people who get involved in rape. The question here is that criminals, kidnappers, armed robbers, they have a life death sentence on their head. So how many of them are repenting? The same thing with this issue of rape. Wow. So I think what we need right now is major education to know what our guest child and our boy child should do. But for me personally and my team, we are advocating that we need to start training our boy child. Yes. The girls are being trained. When you have a baby girl, you buy them a baby doll. Yeah. They start bathing, they start plaiting their hair. But what do you buy for your boy? You buy them a game to always win, to always say, okay, I must succeed. You understand? So we need to sit back. It's not about all the money, all the houses, all the accumulation of wealth. It's the fact that when you are getting to your 60, to your 65 and 70, will you look back and say, I've done a great job with my children, especially my boy child. Today, we see, look at what happened. Look at what happened in Lagos during the lockdown about the 1 million gang criminals. I'm very sure. Yes. Look at from age 14, 15, 16, 17 upward. So tell me, as a father, if your child is not home by 9 o'clock, what do you do?
Very true.
So today, we have seen a whole lot of children, especially the boys, who have become a breadwinner to their family.
Very true.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I applaud what you're doing with this work, and I'm happy that this conversation is coming out. But most of the young people that are raping right now, I believe, have seen somebody or learned from somebody. Now, I want us to move the conversation away from teaching the children. What sort of modeling should fathers model to the children? How they treat women, how they talk to their mothers, how they talk to their helps, how they talk to other people. What sort of modeling? Because children will only act on what they see and not what you say. We've grown up with parents who have always told us, do this way and do that way. But we are seeing them and they are going the other way. So should we move the attention to the sort of modeling we want fathers to start having to impact on the younger generation?
Thank you so much. I think that you just nailed it. You see, the issue of model good behavior to our children is one thing that is lacking.
Yes.
I always say is that you don't give what you do not have. A lot of fathers today, for example, you are in a vehicle with your children and you beat the traffic light, and your children, they keep quiet. They didn't say anything. You are in your house and somebody is calling you, and you are still in the house. You are telling the person, I am on Tom Mainland Bridge right now, and I'll get back to you. Your children are watching. Yes. You are a politician. You are a politician. Your children know what you are doing. You like it or not. If you are stealing, you are embezzling, you are corrupt. Your children know you are corrupt. So, you see, we need to model good behavior to our children. And I don't know why people are not saying that we are in 21st century generation. And we need to have what we call intentional parenting.
Yes.
A lot of people are not doing what we call intentional parenting today. Until fathers especially begin to see that my behavior, for example, you are talking to your wife without respect, with disrespect, and your boy is there,
picking up on
and your daughter is there. What do you think he's going to do? Today, look at the high rate of divorce that is going on. Do you know the reason? Because those guys, I have seen it from their parents. I tell people, whether you like it or not, all the challenges I have in my life, whether negative or positive, is from somebody. It's from my father. So that's it. That's about life. So the issue of modeling good behavior matters a lot. And like I said, again, it is about what? It's not about money. Fathers need to understand that. Your child wants to do a birthday, all you do is just buy every present, and you are not there. We are not listening to these children. Okay, look at this period of lockdown. And many of us have taken time out.
Let me just Mariam has a question to get into this conversation.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, too. I need to also as well applaud you, because when we have conversations concerning rape, the male voices, the adult male voices seem to be quite silent. So I really do applaud you, and I hope that what you've started will galvanize a lot of fathers, to do the same. But I just, I'm curious, because every time we talk about rape, especially on social media, the sort of responses you hear from boys, and I wonder where they learn them from. So I would like to ask you what you think about rape, and this is what I mean. Do you think that the way a girl dresses is a justification for rape? Because we hear young boys say that, and I know that they hear it from someone, they are learning it from someone. Do you think that where a girl goes to, where she visits, if she goes out and hangs out with her friends or her boyfriend, does that justify rape? What situations do you think justifies rape for a young girl? Maybe when the boys hear your response, would know, they will learn from that.
Okay, number one, there's no justification for rape, one. Number two, what you wear does not matter, does not at all. But my advice as a child advocate and as a security consultant is that a bulk of crime committed in this country is closely connected to mental health. As a result of that, we need to educate our children and our girls on what to wear to some certain area. That's just my own teaching, and that is my own take. Because we have a whole lot of mental people. I don't know whether you've seen a picture that went viral yesterday or a few days ago about somebody in the front of an hotel masturbating on daylight. If not, it's online right now. Do you think such person is normal? If you see such person that is masturbating, on hot afternoon, if you see a girl dressed half naked, what do you think is going to be his reaction?
Some people might say
the
for
truth
that
is that the
person,
whole
no
lot of
matter
people
how you're
are
dressed.
mentally insane. So it's not about the dressing, but it's about the fact that a lot of people out there are mentally derailed. So we need to advise people on what to wear, on how to go about it. That's just the point here. Nobody will say, I would have rather we focus on the preventing it, because at the end of the day,
Sometimes, and in many cases, the person that gets raped and gets murdered, they are not half naked.
Yeah.
In most of those that speak up, they are well dressed.
Exactly.
So I understand as a security expert that women should dress. If you wear a jeans and all of that, it will be tough to get you to remove the jeans. I get that part. Okay, you are going out at night with a group of male friends. Wear a jeans trouser. Don't wear a short skirt that will be easy to just pull up. I understand that part. But the message is to help make men understand
That there's
their ability to self-control their emotions and their desires. So when we now throw the blame again and say women should learn how to dress well, the young 5-year-old child didn't know. It's the 80 children that got raped. Those 80 people that were raped by their fathers. Those 80 children that were raped by their fathers, it's not about the dressing. It's about lack of self-control on the man's side. So how do we raise boys to control themselves? How?
How do we raise boys to control themselves? It's from home. We need to begin. Okay, there's an issue that happened recently that we handled, and it had to do with a boy who raped his senior sister. And when we got to the bottom of what happened, he said, my senior sister is always dressing naked in the house over a period of time. And we need to understand again, like we always tell women, a lot of these boys watch pornography and they don't find a way to practice what they see. So the moment they see an opportunity, they go for it. For example, you see a mother who is dressing up and a 5-year-old boy is entering the room and coming out. You think he does not know what he's saying? Or a father is dressing up and a 5-year-old girl is coming in and going out. So you see, it's moral. We need to start teaching morality. We need to start helping our children to understand. I have a friend, a 5-year-old, his 5-year-old son asked him, Daddy, what is sex?
Thanks,
He wasn't confused. You know how he did? He went and brought a video. He said, what is sex? The 5-year-old boy, 5-year-old, to show you that he's already ahead of his parents. And what the father did was, he didn't tell him by word of mouth. He brought a video of a woman that is delivering a baby to show him. And after showing him, he now analyzed that, see, this woman was pregnant and he had a sex with her husband. So sex is when you want to have a baby with your wife.
We can't finish this conversation today. I'm really sorry, we're totally out of time. Like we're 100% out of time. And I must really put this disclaimer out there that a lot of the things said are your personal opinion, and it doesn't represent what TVC says or what Your View show represents, and what our stand is concerning parenting and advocacy concerning rape. They are your opinion. We also know that some words that were used by him were not supposed to be said on breakfast show, so we apologize for that for those that have their kids watching the show. See, there's really no justification
for rape.
So I'll say, we can continue to do hashtag say no to rape. Fathers, hashtag fathers say no to rape. Every man watching this show right now, take a picture, tweet it, take a picture, put it on Instagram, on Facebook, fathers say no to rape, and urge your friends to do the same. And let's educate our boy child. That's what we can take on the show today. We need to go.
We cannot just put one last thing,
on
which
social media. This conversation will continue. That's all we can take for today. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you all tomorrow.
Okay.